Hey, what's going on? Luke here. For today's video, we're going to be talking about the NRL rule changes. Now, NRL, how do you continue to fuck things up time after time? Now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, there's actually been a couple of rule changes been announced. Well, actually, not even a couple. I think there was up to 8. I think it was something like 8. 8 rule changes announced by the NRL, by the ARLs, whatever the hell the thing is, the commission, about rule changes for 2021. And so far, based on what I've seen online, I think the whole general response to it has been negative by the fans. And look, once I tell you what they are, you're probably going to be negative too. I mean, I'm definitely negative. And that's why for today's video, we're going to be doing a bit of a ratings on all the rule changes. I was thinking, do I do like a star system? Do I do 5 stars? Do I do a 1 to 10? I've decided to go the 1 to 10. Now, I will say, not all of these rule changes are absolutely terrible. Some of them are okay, but some of them are just absolutely abysmal. Like, why the hell would you do this? Anyways, I got the intro out of the way. Let's get into rating the actual rule changes. Now, I'm not going to be doing these in a particular order, or I'm not really going to be reading off the little statement and reading the exact words. I'm kind of just going to explain it to you, give my thoughts, and give my rating for it out of 10. So let's go on to the first one. So the first one that we're going to be talking about is them doing handovers instead of penalties for people not playing the ball properly, in terms of not getting the foot on the ball, that sort of stuff. I actually think this is actually a really good one. I feel like with the actual penalty, it might be too harsh of a thing to give a penalty for, and I feel like referees aren't. They don't want to give a penalty because it's like, oh, well, they kind of got the foot on the ball, maybe. I don't know. You get some players who literally just roll it. I think maybe Hargraves used to be bad at it. I don't know if he still is. But yeah, they just get up and just roll the ball. They get the quick play of the ball. They benefit from it because the referees aren't going to give a penalty. And when they do, it's very few and far between. So every now and again, there'll be a penalty. And you can cop that if you're going to get away with it 99 times out of 100. So the one penalty, look, it is surprising, but I don't know. And even when they do it, it's like, well, you're not giving it any other times. Why are you picking my team to do it for? So in that sense, I feel like it'll be a lot better because referees will actually be willing to do it, I hope. Because it is very, very annoying when you see players blatantly do it, and it benefits teams way more than what people realise, I feel. The quick play of the ball, it's so important in the modern game in terms of how fast the game is, and they're always constantly looking to make the game faster. Once again, with these rules, trying to make it fast, I don't know if it necessarily makes the game better. I really don't believe that. But this is what they want, a faster game, more fatigue in the game, that sort of stuff. And getting a quick play the ball is so crucial to that. And these guys getting up and just rolling the ball, and entry feed is another one who used to do it, and then just getting away with it without anything. I feel like this will really, really help. So out of 10, I think I'm going to give this one, I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. I feel like it's a pretty good one. It's not absolutely perfect because it does have potential to, not be officiated right and then still not do it. But look, if they do actually pull players up on it, and it's not as harsh as a full-blown penalty, so they definitely should be pulling up players on it. So look, I think it has potential to be a really good one. So 8 out of 10 for that one. It's a strong start for this whole rule change thing. Let me assure you, it's going to go downhill pretty quickly. Now, the next one we're going to be talking about is one they actually trialled out at the end of last season. I believe it was in like the bottom 8 games that didn't mean nothing, and that's them awarding the try on the field, and then as the players getting ready for the conversion, the bunker will actually review all the tries on the go, on the fly, and they can't overrule it and call off the try. So they did try that last year. I think there was a few tries that ended up getting cancelled out. And this is one that I feel like it's kind of beneficial in terms of if it's like a pretty straightforward try, maybe there's like a little bit of a thing. Like we've seen a lot of the times they go up to the bunker for like a put down or something where they're putting it down one hand and like, is there like a little tiny bobble or something? And the players celebrate and they've got to like stop and have a look. So in terms of that sort of stuff where it's like, all right, well, he's got the ball down, that's fine. But in terms of other ones, I can see it being annoying and people getting very outraged. Midway through the season when we're seeing all these tries and, the team's getting back to take the kick off and then getting called back up. And I'm pretty sure the Bulldogs had what happened to them last year. And I remember it being super frustrating, like, oh my God, you just have that initial, at least with the video ref, you're like, oh, well, let's just see if they award it. Will they award it? This one, like, you're like, yes, I've got the try. Hell yeah. And you see the team go back, waiting for the conversion, and they're like, oh, no try. So in the end, you do get the right result. And for some occasions, it's going to be great in the sense that you don't have to worry about the video ref, and you don't have to sit there and wait. Players can celebrate. The moment's not ruined if it's actually a try, but when it's not, and the moment is going to be ruined because they're going to celebrate, and you're going to have to go back. I think it'd be such a buzzkill. So I can see it sort of being good and bad. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. We saw it happen last year, so it is one of the ones we've already seen sort of happen. So I can kind of give a proper response to this one. So yeah, like I said, 6 out of 10 for this one. Now the next one we're going to be talking about is another good one. So I've started off with 3 pretty decent ones, and like I said, I can assure you it's going to go downhill. So we may as well start off hot, start off good, get the good ones out of the way. So the next one is when players are down injured and the trainer asks for the game to be stopped. They're going to make the player be interchanged, which I think is a good thing. So in the sense that if players are going to stay down and they're going to try and milk a penalty or whatever, they're going to have to get interchanged straight away. I think that's a good thing. But this is all, I will say, this is more so for people who are actually properly injured. So I don't think too many things have changed. But I mean, in the off chance there is a player who stays down for like multiple tackles and the trainer's like, "Oi, stop," and they go back and do that sort of stuff, the player has to be interchanged immediately. So I don't know how much has actually changed, but look, it is a fairly good one in the sense that if a player is going to stay down and try and milk a penalty and they're going to try and stop the game, that you're off. There's no this like getting up, I'm actually alright, I'm good to go, I'm going to make 3 tackles in a row. Like, that's not going to happen. Players aren't going to miraculously recover and be good to play on for the rest of the game. Like, they're going to be taken off. I think it's going to be a good thing, and also it will punish players if they're going to try and do that, because they're going to be an interchange player down, as far as I know anyway. So for that one, I'm actually going to give it a 10 out of 10. That's a perfect one because it doesn't really affect too much, but if it is going to do something, I feel like it's going to be good. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Now, I started off with a lot of the good ones. I think it's now time we throw a bad one in the mix. So the one we're going to be talking about next is the 10-meter offside rule. So at the moment, or at least forever, I guess, if you're offside from the play of the ball, like if the defensive side was offside and they jumped a little bit early and they would penalise it. And with all the rule changes in terms of the 6 again and stuff, it wasn't included. They've now changed it so it is in fact included. So we're going to be having 6 again for offsides, and I feel like that is not a good move. It's already confusing enough as it is in terms of the 6 again, trying to figure out what the penalties actually for. Is it handling the balls, all that sort of stuff, because it's so quick and all they say is 6 again, and you're like, well, I don't know, it's not like 6 again handling ball or something like that. There's no sort of justification as to why it's happened. All you know is it's 6 again and your team's in the shit because you're now under the pump for 6 again. Whereas now the offside, it's just another confusing part of the game, and I feel like rugby league as a whole, they keep finding ways to make this game a lot more confusing. It seems like such a simple game, and they keep adding more rules that just make things way more confusing for people to watch. Like, try and show a person and introduce a new person to rugby league, and you have to explain all the rules to them, and it's very, very hard, and this just adds to it, and I feel like it's such an unnecessary one. Look, it is, in a sense, it is kind of a good one in terms of I hope they police it a bit more. A lot of times we see it, but it's so, like, referees are so different from one another that I can see it sort of being a thing where nothing really changes. Like, 10-meter rule, it's not something they rule on all the time. And I don't know if it's going to be a thing where they're like, oh, it's only 6 again, we can give more penalties, or it would be exactly the same. It's sort of, this all banks on how they actually officiate it and how they rule on it. So if they're going to be blowing penalties left, right, and centre, or not penalties, but 6 again, I feel like it's going to be very annoying. People are going to get very, very over it, and I feel like the whole 6 again rule in itself will suffer from it. But yeah, I don't necessarily understand why they had to add this in. I feel like they should have just left it as it is. The 10-meter penalty, I feel like it was fine for an actual penalty, and it gives a chance for teams to have a bit of a rest. Look, it does stop teams from exploiting the offside and coming up, and if they get away with it, they get to come up and rush up on a team, get away with it, get good field position, and if not, they got a bit of a breather. But yeah, for me, I'm not a huge fan of this one. I really don't really like it. The more I talk about it, the more I am kind of justifying it in my head a little bit. But it's not one that I'm a big fan of. But it is one that I can see the positives for it, but I can see a lot of negatives from it as well. So for this one, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Now, the next one we're going to be talking about is an overhaul to the Captain's Challenge. Now, this one, I don't necessarily think is a good one. I don't think it's absolutely terrible. I just kind of think it's just unnecessary. And I feel like a lot of these rule changes in general are just quite unnecessary. They're not absolutely terrible. It's just kind of like it's not necessarily needed. And just this constant obsession with changing the game, it's really driving me crazy. But in terms of this one, what's happening is for the Captain's Challenge, there's a lot of times where captains are going up to the bunker, doing the challenge, and you have a look at the footage and you can't really see things. Similar to the video ref a couple of years ago, where they'd look at it and they go, well, we can't see anything, so we're just going to go with the on-field decision, or they do the ref's call or whatever. But in terms of the Captain's Challenge, they're doing just the on-field decision, and you're like, well, there probably was a drop ball in there, but you just can't see it. So now they're actually changing it so if you do it and it comes to the conclusion that we can't really see anything, the result is we can't really see anything. I think it still stands with the on-field call, but you're not going to lose your Captain's Challenge. So I feel like in that sense, it's a good one because teams aren't going to lose out on the fact that there's just not enough cameras. And look, when I say not enough cameras, that's not a knock on the NRL or the presentation or whatever. It's just there's only so many cameras you can have. There's only so many things you can see. And if players are around the play, it's just natural that you're not going to be able to see everything. Referees can't see everything. Cameras aren't going to be able to see everything too. So this one I don't necessarily hate, but it's also one that I feel like the Captain's Challenge in general, I don't think has been as big a success as what people thought it would be. I think people thought it was just going to solve everything in terms of some bad calls, but I feel like all it's done is just show that the players on the field don't really have any better idea than the referees. The amount of shitty challenges that they've done where it's like a clear drop ball or something and or like loose carry, something like that, and players have been like, oh no, challenge it for sure. And it's like usually a lot of the same players doing it. Dallin with Tenny's Lesniak, I'm looking at you. Every week they go up and they go, no, I didn't drop that ball, that was knocked out. And then you have a look and it's like a clear drop ball and you're like, what the hell? So in a sense, like if it is going to be ones that are a legitimate stuff up and you can't really see anything and your team just got unlucky, I'm glad about that. But in terms of the actual Captain's Challenge itself, I don't really know about the actual rule itself or the decision. But the rating I'm going to give for this one, I actually think it's a benefit to the Captain's Challenge. So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Only as low as what it is just because I don't know about the Captain's Challenge itself. But in terms of the actual addition to the rule or whatever the changes they are doing, I actually think it's a pretty good one. Actually, you know what? Let's give it a 9 out of 10. 7 out of 10, it seems too harsh. It is a good one. It is one of the better ones, especially considering the ones you're about to hear. So I was going to save this one to the end, but look, this is the real reason why you're here. You want to hear my thoughts on the new rule change of the field goal. So if you're unaware, that the new rule is if you get a field goal from 40 meters or further out, you get 2 points instead of 1 point. Now, I feel like no matter how you look at this, I don't see it being a good thing. So look, there's like two arguments to this rule that I've seen a lot of people doing it. The first one is that it's a shit rule, like, oh, well, if you're going to go that far out, well, then you may as well start giving more points for teams who are scoring from like length of field tries. So by that, like, I think that is good logic. I feel like if you're going to give more points for taking field goals further out, well then you got to give more points for other stuff too that are further out. If conversion's done from halfway or something, do you all of a sudden get more points for that? It'd be like soccer. For me, I feel like it'd be like in soccer, if you got a penalty or a free kick. If you got a free kick, let's say a free kick, for example, or just any goal outside the box, they're like, actually, we're going to give it 2 goals instead of the 1. Everyone would be like, what the hell? And I feel like that's what everyone's doing right now. Everyone's going, what the hell? But you're also getting some people who are like, well, doesn't really matter. There's not really many 40-meter plus field goals anyways, and there's not really many people capable of doing it. So it's not really gonna change anything, is it? And my point is exactly right. Why do they need to change it then? No matter how you look at it, it seems unnecessary. If you're I can't really see a person advocating for it. It's more so like, oh, well, it's not going to change anything. Which my point is, well, then if it's not going to change anything, why bring in the rule? It's like the 2040. We saw like there's no real benefit for a team doing it. Do we even see one last year? Players are going to be able to get back, and first off, it's so risky that players don't want to do it to start off with. Similar to the new field goal rule. So you're going to get 2 points, or you can go up further, probably get a penalty for some little minuscule thing and just take a shot at goal. The only way I see this benefiting teams is if teams are down by 2, where before it was like, oh, you had 2 point lead, you have to score, or you have to try and force a penalty. Now there's that third option coming down to the wire, where you can do the Hail Mary field goal, which I feel like in a sense, I feel like it'd be undeserved. Just like I said, it's a Hail Mary. If it goes over, super lucky. I don't know. Obviously, there is a lot of skill to kicking a field goal, but it's also a lot of luck too. But I can't see anyone kicking a field goal under pressure from that far out. A lot of the times it's, just happen on a half time or something. I remember Benji Marshall kicked one from halfway, and I think Michael Morgan only kicked one last year. I think there was only one last year that was from 40 meters or more out. So it's not like a common thing, but yeah, I really don't like this one. It just seems like an unnecessary rule change, and I feel like a lot of these are unnecessary. And there's a few others after this one that will sort of... I feel like at the start of the video, I was just shitting on this and talking about how bad they were, and then I started off with all the good ones, whereas now I'm going to be talking about some of the crappy ones. And it starts off with this, and this just takes the cake. This is the number one bad one. It's just, there's no way to look at this and say it's a positive move for rugby league. And I don't know how these people who have gone in there and they've looked at it and went, yeah, this is a good move. I honestly, I don't know how they've actually come to this decision. Out of all the rule changes they could have done, I think the biggest one they should do is that Free Play Super League does it, and I think it's a really, really good one. So Luke Patton talking about they should do it, and it kind of got me thinking, I'm like, yeah, exactly, they definitely need to do it. I've talked about it in the past on this channel as well, so it's not like a new thing. It's been around for a fair while now in the Super League. But yet they want to do this change, a 2-point field goal. It's stupid. Why are they changing points? I feel like this would be something that probably even before the season starts, there'll be so much outrage. They'll be like, actually, no, we will change it. We'll change it back. 1-point field goal. It's good enough. So yeah, like if your team's lucky enough to kick a field goal from 40 meters out, you're just lucky. That's how it should be. Field goals are kind of just hit and miss, or literally. But I just can't see an extra point being enough incentive for teams to start taking shots. So therefore, it's not really going to change much. Therefore, like I said, why bother changing it then? So for this one, I'm going to give this one minus 1,000. Now moving on to the next one, it's not a good one, but there's also another one that kind of follows with it that's not too bad. But the first one I'm going to be talking about is taking players over the sideline. So before you take a player over the sideline, you get a scrum and you go from there. Or if the ball just happened to go over the sideline. I'm pretty sure it's just anything that goes over the sideline. Now, they're just going to be doing a play the ball. There's no scrums. They're just going to be doing the play the ball, which is very frustrating to me. I hate seeing the scrum killed out of the game. I know a lot of people are kind of advocates for the scrum being taken out because they want to speed up the game and all that sort of stuff. But for me, I feel like the scrum, it's a chance for a set play, especially with the new rule of like you can pick and choose where you actually want to have the scrum. I feel like it benefits teams. They can set up their sets. I feel like it's a really good thing, and this is just another step further to killing off the scrum. So for me, I feel like this is a really, really bad move. And for me, I'm going to give this one like a 1 out of 10. I think it's absolutely terrible. I don't understand the play the ball doesn't really benefit. It's just whatever. It's just there. Whereas the scrum, it's like you imagine like you just see your team. They grab a player, they drag them over the sideline 5-10 minutes. I remember Bulldogs used to do it quite a bit. They get up, they gang tackle them, throw them over the sideline, and you'd be all pumped up. You get the scrum, you can capitalise off the scrum. Now it's like, all right, grab the ball, play the ball, move on. I feel like it just takes away from a big moment like that. I can't really see too many positive for it, apart from them wanting to speed up the game even more, which is another thing, like I said earlier, I don't know. The whole obsession with speeding up the game, I don't like it. But that moves on to the next one, which is also about the scrum itself, which just doesn't make sense. They're trying to kill off the scrum even more, and then they bring in another scrum rule. But this one actually is a pretty good one. This one is about the scrum with players breaking early, but it's also like you just added in a rule that just takes out another reason to have a scrum. So really, the only reason for a scrum is a drop ball. And now you brought in another scrum rule of players breaking early, which I thought it was already a rule, but they're going to be focusing on that a lot more, I believe. Players break early from the scrum, I believe it's just like a penalty straight away. I feel like before they could be like, oh, you don't get back in or something like that, where now it's just like a straight up penalty. So it's more just emphasizing a rule that was already kind of there. So in that sense, it's good, but it's just like you're getting rid of the scrum anyways, essentially. And then you bring in another scrum rule. So it's do you want it the scrum or do you not want the scrum? You're getting rid of it. Don't get rid of it and then adding more rules to it on the few chances that's actually going to happen. It's a very strange thing for the NRL to do. So that's all the rule changes over and done with. All 8 of them. I actually thought there was a couple more, but it turns out it was just all of them ones. So I've gone through. I've given my ratings for them. Now it's time to give an overall rating. Now, obviously, I gave one that was like minus 1,000. So I'm not going to tally it all up and come up with like a minus 980 or something, whatever. I'm just going to give like an overall one, and my overall rating for it is going to be a 3 out of 10. Now, the reason being is, despite them being some absolutely abysmal one, there are a couple good ones in there, and the ones that they did change that were good, they were fairly good, but the ones they got wrong are just incredibly wrong. So bad. So bad. And it baffles me how the NRL continues to make dumb decisions like this in terms of growing the game and that. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know, do you agree with me? Do you agree with the NRL? Do you like the changes? Do you dislike them? I'm sure we can have a bit of a discussion there, because as much as I don't like these rule changes, I'm sure there's some people who do. Now, look, I've looked online, I've seen a lot of negative stuff, I've talked about it, how people have said negative things, but it's only a portion of the online community, so and also just the community in general. So if you do actually like the stuff, let me know in the comment section below, and you can actually explain it to me, and maybe I can get a whole different perspective on it. Maybe everyone can get a different perspective on it. Maybe the field goal is a great change. I don't know. For me, I don't think so, but maybe you think so. So feel free to do that. But guys, that's where I'm going to end this video. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to follow me on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's MrLuke on my team for the most part. Facebook's just MrLuke. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and turn the notification bell on. It is quite important. Let you be notified immediately when I upload. I was supposed to do a Brandon Smith video today, but ended up doing this. So, going to be uploading a Brandon Smith video pretty soon on where he ends up. So, stay tuned for that one, but you don't want to miss it, so turn notification bells. So, yeah, that's all of the outro out of the way. Guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.